Everybody poops. Everybody poops.
What?
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 Wait, what? Why did you say that?
Because you said poop.
What? When did I say poop?
Did you not say poop?
No!
Oh. This is awkward. I'll just go ahead and take my leave.
What did you hear? I do not know why. I do not know why this is tickling me so much.
That better be. You better be recording. That better be your intro.
Oh my god! I think it's gonna be the first extended intro. Holy shit! How's it going, friends? LUIGINATOR here for another LUIGINATOR podcast, and today it is just Sam and I once more. Sam, say hello.
Hello.
As a reminder, everybody, if you would like a shout out or you would like us to talk about something specific during a podcast, you can hop into the LUIGINATOR Discord server, which has a link down in the description below, and you can hop into our Cool Kids Chat Club, and you can tag me during the time that we are recording, which I announce in the server every single time we do it, and during our halftime, halfway through, I will shout it out or talk about whatever. Sam and I will discuss it, won't we, Sam?
We talk about stuff when time says stuff.
We do! We talk about stuff when stuff talks stuff. Exactly. And today on the LUIGINATOR podcast, we have a very special, very tender topic to discuss, which is the most disgusting way that I've ever introduced a topic, Sam.
Why'd you bring in tender as an adjective?
No. Today, friends, we are going to be discussing what is actually a topic that means a lot to me. Today we are going to be discussing video games that count as art. Video gaming in general is an art form that is often relegated to not being an art form for a variety of reasons. Some people say it's because the user has too much input and so it prevents it from being real art because, you know, real art is supposed to be you make it and then it's out there. Other people counter, myself included, that the art is still out there. The player engagement just makes it a new kind of art that we're not used to seeing. And it's a big, still to this day, hotly debated debate in and around video games. But I feel that there are several video games that can be pointed as examples of artwork, things that prove video gaming worthy of being revered as an art form. Sam and I, before, when we realized this was going to be the topic, Sam and I both immediately said we think we have one in mind, so I hope that that comes up. It's not going to be my first game. I am actually going to pull a first on the LUIGINATOR podcast. My first thing...
Hashtag first.
...is hashtag first. My first thing today is going to be taking something off the table, and this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get banjo out of the way because I feel like it's something that people would assume I would say, like, this counts as art. And don't get me wrong, I think all video games are art. I absolutely think that banjo-kazooie is a work of art in and of its own right. It had too much work, too much creativity, too much vision behind it, just as all video games do. To not be called, like, it is. I fully believe that banjo-kazooie is art, but for the purpose of today's podcast, I just wanted to take my first slot to go ahead and say banjo-kazooie is not a game that I feel like you can point to and say, this is art. Although, that being said, now that I've opened up the floor to discuss banjo-kazooie, I feel people talk about comedic stuff. Comedic films are revered as art. Comedic shows are often revered as art. Comedic stage plays especially are revered as art. So I feel like in that respect, banjo-kazooie has a very unique comedic voice, even in the video gaming world, I believe. So I feel like that could be argued that it could stand out as an example of what art is, which just really brings it back to how interpretive this topic is, doesn't it? Because it really depends on what your personal definition of art is, what you think counts, blah, 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 blee, blah, blue, blah. Sam, what do you think?
I think that there's some new version of art going around because this gift you put up on the Discord, there's just two birds in the upper right-hand corner just flapping about. What's going on there?
What is up with that?
Is someone trying to hijack Banjo?
Whoever put these birds here, you can't just put your birds there and take over Banjo-Kazooie. You can't do that. That's not how that works. You gotta buy them from Rare and from Microsoft, which, please do it. Someone needs to do that because they're sure not doing it.
Stop
themselves.
flipping the bird at us.
Stop. All right, Sam. So take it away. What video game do you think counts as art?
Good choice with Banjo. LUIGINATOR, as always, your choices are very good, very well thought out.
Very
now here comes Very, very predictable. Now here comes Scrub Hub co-host, podcast co-host. I said co-host too many times. My first choice is gonna be, and this is what I'm gonna use it as my first guess. This is the game that I thought you and I are instinctively thinking about at the moment we heard this topic. It's Cuphead.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Is that not what you were thinking?
Explain yourself.
Okay. Well, if you know Cuphead, then you pretty much already have like a general idea of why this game is like such a piece of art. But also, I think it's a wonderful piece of art because one, it's so comedically goofy yet has like some twisted dark atmospheres to it. It's like a very unusual blend that you would not think it would mix, yet it does super well. Plus, it also brings in the very fun gameplay of 2D side-scroller shoot 'em up and cooperative gameplay. Caleb, you and I played Cuphead from start to finish, and that was quite a roller coaster, wasn't it?
I loved it so much. I remember one of my favorite memories of that is we'd gone through the entire game and been more or less on the same page the entire time. Like, we got mad at the same things, we were really on the same page. We got to the very, very end of the game, and Sam, I remember you wanted to see the bad ending first, I think is what it was, and I was vehemently against it because I was terrified we were going to have done all of this work to get the good ending and then get cucked out of seeing the good ending. I was so afraid.
So, clarification, I was only pushing for the bad ending because I wanted to get all the achievements for Cuphead, or at least as many as possible without torturing myself. And so I was like doing some heavy research as we were getting closer, and because I instinctively, or I had a guess, because like if we do the spoiler for Cuphead, by the way, if we do the good ending, I assume we would have to fight the devil. But I thought because he asked us, the devil had a cutscene and asked us, "Hey, do you want to join me as my right-hand man?" And I immediately thought this has to be an achievement, so I did some research and I thought, okay, so this is an ending, and since we're probably gonna have to fight the devil, Caleb, let's do the bad ending, get that achievement, and then do the good ending. And yeah, you were very on the fence about it because you didn't know if it was a one-way street.
I for sure thought, because of how difficult the rest of the game was, I for sure thought it was going to be a one-way street. I was so worried. I remember in the moment we got like very genuinely upset with each other about it.
You took the controller out of my hand and brought it to the other side of the room and just went, "Sam, no! Sam, stop!"
I was scared.
I just wanted the achievement, man. It's on my Xbox.
That's such a big deal saying that it's on your Xbox too, because you know me, I'm always like, I don't really care about it on my own systems, but on other people's systems I will always say like, okay, hey, to your system you have to clock in first. Like if we're playing Smash on someone else's Switch, I'm always like, oh shit, I accidentally became player one, let me back out. Like I have the utmost respect for the your console, your player one rule for other people's consoles. So it was a big deal that I took the controller.
Clearly, now that we're talking about it, now it's like fully connected, like how much that like full-on story meant to you of how far we've come, and you didn't want me to just be like, hey, let's do the bad ending for our 20 gamer score achievements.
Yeah, no, I was literally like, we can cut back. We don't have to kill them all if we did to get the bad ending. Let's just do it. Like,
I had a hunch that like there's no way it'd be like a one-time thing, but I had to like look it up and show you like, no, it's okay, we can do both. Let's just do this one so the good ending can be our final note.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, we did both endings and got both achievements.
We
did. We
did wind up getting both of them. We didn't have to repeat anything. So fun fact: learn from Sam and I's anguish and torment. If you do one of the endings, you can still go do the other ending afterward. That's fine. You are totally fine.
You never have to repeat a level. Once you do the level, it is done. You never have to repeat anything unless it's for a new game.
Exactly. Once it's done, and it's very worth playing.
Yeah, and also, fuck this guy. I don't know. That boss was very hard.
Fuck the dragon.
He made me go insane.
Oh god, yep, that was the boss that took us the longest. Absolutely. Well, Sam, I absolutely agree with this choice. I absolutely think that Cuphead counts as art more than a lot of other games. Not that you can rank what is and is not good art on a realistic, like, you know how with money you can easily say $5 is worth more than $1. Art is just art. It is all on one line. The only way that you can make it less is if it is intentionally being derogatory towards someone else. I think all art is on the same spectrum. It is all on the same level. It's all about, oh my god, it's all about personal preference. But for me personally, the reason I say that Cuphead is on a higher level for me, personally, on my personal interpretation, is that I'm an animator. I love animation. I've done a couple on the channel already. And it's just the amount, the workload and the dedication and the attention to detail that went into Cuphead as a hand-drawn game, essentially. Just, like, I clearly cannot put it into words properly. It just blows my mind how much work and dedication that would have taken. I am very, very eagerly awaiting the arrival of the DLC, whenever it may show up. And I've had multiple conversations with people who have been very, rightly so, upset that we haven't gotten the DLC yet after all this time. And I've had very many conversations with them where I'm like, hey, I want that DLC too. But do you have any idea how much work that takes?
Yeah.
Like, that would have been delayed even if there hadn't been COVID in the middle of it. Like, that's just, animation's hard. I think animation is also a very underappreciated art form, but that is another podcast for another day. I'm gonna write that topic down. We'll talk about that later.
Also, this was us playing the game.
That was absolutely us playing the game.
That's us at the start of the game, and then halfway into the game, we started to, like, do some yelling and raging, and this was us when we won the game.
Oh my god, that was... And I remember I was like, all right, cool. Let's go back and get all the, let's clear everything, Sam, now that we've done it all. And I remember I was super excited and you were just like, Caleb, no.
Well, because it's literally like some of the achievements like, hey, go through the entire game without taking damage. And it's like, it's like, I'm all for getting achievements, but like, lifelong torture is not worth an 80 gamer score achievement.
Speak for yourself.
You go do it then. I ain't having any of that.
I don't want to do it without a partner.
It's hard. Like,
it is. It's very challenging. If any of the developers of Cuphead are listening to this, we really genuinely appreciate your game. And I know that we joke a lot about people coming on the podcast, and I'll put something in the Be on the Podcast jar, or whatever we're gonna call it now, the sponsorship jar. I'll put a quarter in it next time Sam is saying his piece. But if any of the devs for Cuphead are somehow listening to this, as an animator and as a video game fan and someone who has interest in video game development, I would absolutely love to have any or all of you on this podcast at some point in time. That'd be fantastic. So, Sam, this is something I absolutely agree with. This is not the game that I thought that we would be in agreement on, I will be honest.
What'd you think?
Well, before I drop that, I've been trying to find a good time to share this picture, and it never came up because I didn't want to interrupt anybody, so I'm just gonna paste it now. There you go. And, so yeah, this is a game that, so my game, the game that I thought that Sam and I were going to be in agreement on, is one that gets brought up in this conversation a lot. Oh my god. The game that I thought that you were going to think about at the same time that I did was Skyrim. Skyrim
That's a good answer.
Gorgeous. And I mean, obviously now you can point back and you can say, oh, well, such and such looks dated, or such and such isn't, doesn't look as good as, like, I don't know, Cyberpunk or like a modern game. But
mods.
But like, A, mods, B, there is just something about the immersion and the world of Skyrim that's just so weirdly unique, even from other entries in the series. Every Elder Scrolls game is unique in its own right, and the worlds specifically of Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim are all extremely immersive, are all extremely good games, but the world of Skyrim is just, again, in my personal interpretation, on another level on it entirely. Like, I don't know what it is about Skyrim that really truly makes it its own caliber, but I think it's perfectly summed up by the fact that I've never spoken to someone who played Skyrim who didn't say that they remember exactly the first moment they played Skyrim. And yeah, no, there are plenty of glitches in it, there are plenty of bugs, but the world, the way that the story is told, I'm not saying it's flawless, I'm not saying it's perfect, I'm not saying that it's the best, I'm not saying anything, I'm not even saying it's my favorite artistic example of a video game. It's definitely in one of my top 5 favorite games of all time right now, but Skyrim, God, I could think about and out loud barely postulate how I feel positively about Skyrim as a piece of art all day.
Start with the soundtrack. That's so memorable, in my opinion.
Oh God, yeah, the soundtrack is beautiful. Holy, I had already thought that was probably going to be the background of this podcast, but you're probably all listening to the Skyrim soundtrack if any of you are curious. I'm gonna do a kazoo cover and try to remember to put it right there.
Oh no! Just make it even better. Have it build up while you were talking, and then have it come to a dead stop with me going.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's beautiful. I have to remember. I'm really bad about remembering. If you've listened to the podcast before, you know I'm really bad about going. I'll say like, I'm gonna put this card here, and then I'm really bad about not putting that card anywhere in the video.
We're very distracted.
Holy crap. Anyway, yes, I think Skyrim is
the most memorable game of probably the next decade or two.
It's one of them. I would argue it's absolutely one of them. And Skyrim, like I said, Skyrim is not the most artistic. In my opinion, it's not necessarily the pinnacle of video games as art, but Skyrim is one of the games I was talking about with Philip, who was on the last podcast, when this idea came up as a podcast topic. So there you go. Sam, what do you think?
I flippin' love Skyrim. It was don't you remember like when COVID started to hit at first last year? So like back in like April or May of 2020, I picked up Skyrim again, and then I got all the achievements for it. And it wasn't until that year. Skyrim came out in like what, 2012? 2011?
11.
Yep, you're right.
Which means everybody, let me interject real quick, Sam. For all of you who, haven't been feeling really, really, really old yet, Skyrim turns 10 this year.
Yep. 21, baby.
Holy fuck.
And you know what? We just cracked the code right there, Caleb. They're going to release Skyrim again on 11/11/21. Bethesda, we're calling you out. We know you're going to do it.
First of all, Todd Howard, be on the podcast. I now have to drop 2 quarters into the jar. Second, I think it would be really funny, because we still haven't seen anything for Elder Scrolls 6. I think it would be absolutely hilarious for us to, or for them, sorry, not us. I don't work for Bethesda, but Bethesda, please hire me. I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if Bethesda on 11/11/11 announced that they were bringing Skyrim once again to the next-gen consoles and doing another graphical upgrade for the Xbox Series X and the Switch Pro if it ever gets revealed and all that. But at the end of it, Todd Howard is like, yeah, so we get that this probably isn't what you wanted to hear from us right now, and then goes straight into revealing more about the Elder Scrolls 6. I think that'd be really funny.
They can totally just do, hey, Skyrim 10-year anniversary, and everybody would buy it, me included.
Yeah, no, I'd buy a 10th anniversary celebration of Skyrim. I would absolutely buy a 10th anniversary celebration of Skyrim. Because, I think that Skyrim has gotten a lot of well-deserved flack for how many times it's been released, right? I think that the jokes about that are fair, because I think the first time it got re-released, it was like, what, a Game of the Year edition? That makes sense. Getting ported to another console, okay, fine. Having to pay separately for VR, bullshit. Putting it on a goddamn Alexa, hilarious. It's well-deserved memery, but, I just to support the game, I guess. I know that Bethesda doesn't need the support. They're financially well off, especially now that they're owned by Microsoft. But the game itself, I would buy it literally just to be like, hey Skyrim, I still love you. Thank you for this experience. It's a good RPG game, and I'm a big RPG series fan, or genre fan. Fantastic.
Is so good. And plus, they put so much time and content into it. Like, Bethesda knew like this was gonna take off, and they like put all their chips on it back in like growing years of Skyrim, and it is still paying off to this day.
Oh, it truly is. I always joke to people. I always tell them that I always take an annual pilgrimage to Tamriel, because I pretty solidly annually since freshman year of college have played Skyrim. And I think that it's more accurately that I go back and I play a Bethesda RPG, because freshman year I played Skyrim, sophomore year I played Fallout 4, but the junior year I played a little bit more Skyrim, senior year I played so much Skyrim, and then I remember it, I thought that I was going to be playing it right before midterms, and so I was like, oh my god, I'm screwing myself, because I started playing Skyrim, at around midterms time in my last semester of college, and then like a week later, they were like, hey guys, don't come back from spring break. Sorry, COVID's getting really bad. And I was like, well, guess I started Skyrim at the best time in my life. So my entire first month of the quarantine was just playing Skyrim. It was very good.
And that's what I was saying earlier, was like when COVID like started to hit and we were kind of like, all right, well, we gotta stay locked up. We're in lockdown now. I picked up Skyrim again, got all the achievements, and it wasn't until that year, the year of 2020, I actually figured out the level up system. Because originally, I thought it was just like a jack of all trades type deal, like you need to get to 100 for everything. But then you came in and it was just like, no, you need to like master something. Like the more you invest in like one tree, the faster it goes up, and that's how you level up faster. And I was just like, oh, well, crud, I've been doing it wrong.
I remember
for years.
That. Oh,
yeah,
man, it feels weird talking about this stuff from early quarantine, because like, that feels like it was so forever ago, but it was less than a year ago.
Yeah, 2020 went by very fast, and I'm glad to be out of there.
It sure was slow in the moment, though. Oh, man. I'm sure they can go dig up a podcast from 2020 where we talk about how abysmally slow the year was moving.
Most likely, yeah, because I'm in class. I was in classes at the time, and then you were going through the transition of like, crap, lots of moving for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, because I moved. I had a job at Disney, and then when the parks shut down, that got canned, so I had to find another job, and I was panicking, and I was like, maybe I'll move to Atlanta, maybe I'll move to California, and then I wound up moving to Birmingham, and got a job there, and then I lost that job also because of COVID complications, and so then I moved to Atlanta, which is where I am now, and it's been a time.
it's been a very rough time.
It has, but and I'm not even gonna sit here and say like, oh well, it wasn't the worst year. No, it was an awful.
It was my worst year.
But it was. I don't remember where we were going with that. Yeah, 2020 sucked, but Skyrim is good. Skyrim
is perfect, and even the mod community is so good. Like, I can't think of anything wrong with the mod community. Oh God.
Okay, the mod community absolutely deserves its own shout out. The mods for Skyrim are just beautiful. Oh my god.
I definitely love one of my favorite mods for Skyrim is it's just when they did a crossover with Zelda where you can actually go into the Temple of Time and pull out the Master Sword and start using it as a main weapon in Skyrim.
God.
Get Epona, get the whole thing. I love it.
Yeah. Can we
just have a whole podcast talking about Skyrim?
I was about to say, I'm going to cut us off because I know both of us too well and how much Skyrim means to the both of us. We will absolutely talk about Skyrim for the whole podcast if left alone. So I'm just going to round it out to summarize how I feel about Skyrim. I last year started tracking the games that I play and how often I play them. So like last year, TF2 is my top played game. I played it 97 individual times. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate was second. I played it 84 individual times. Skyrim was number 4 on that list. I played Skyrim 78 individual times last year. And that's not like, oh, I turned it on for 5 minutes and then decided to get off. No, I sat down dedicated, ready to play Skyrim 78 times last year. And that may not sound like a lot, but the time frame of that, I played Skyrim for a month and a half. I played Smash and TF2 all year. So within a month and a half, I played Skyrim almost as much as I played games that I had played for the entire year.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, boy. Good closing sentiment. Oh my god. All right.
Yeah, boy.
Oh no.
I love how happy he gets.
God, I love him. I forget his name, but he should be on the podcast too. Yeah, boy. All right, I'm Sam. Tell me what your next game is, and then I'm gonna go get 3 quarters.
Okay. I gotta calm down. All right, so for my next game, this is a game that I'm very passionate about. I love the energy behind it. I love the theme. I love the look of the game, and I especially love the characters and how much this game sucks me into the game, and I just want them to don't take it that the wrong way. Get your mind out of the gutter.
No, it's not that I was taking it the wrong way. The pause after sucks was so long. I thought you were just gonna be like, all this great stuff, it sucks.
That's actually really good. But yeah, the whole atmosphere of this game is I almost said breathtaking to quote Keanu Reeves, but no, it's not Cyberpunk. I'm talking about, wait for it to load, here it is, it's Red Dead Redemption 2, baby.
Okay, hold on, you talk about that while I get the quarters, because we've talked about this before.
I'm going to talk about it again, but this time about kind of the world building. This game is a fine treat. This game, if you played the first Red Dead Redemption, then you already have some sentimentality or attachment to a few of the characters, especially to John Marston. But even if you did not play the first game and just jumped straight to the second game, this game can still captivate you in such a way where you want to keep playing, you want to keep exploring. You don't have to do the story in Red Dead Redemption to feel like you're growing as Arthur Morgan, and that's also kind of interesting when you start playing as Arthur Morgan. He doesn't, fairly little about this character because he was never mentioned in the first game. So you can make him a total douche or the nicest person in the Old West. This is your open opportunity here. And
all right, wait. You ready?
Go. I heard
Nice.
3. That counts. Yep.
Nice.
There's your 75 cents.
That's 3 jobs.
And oh yeah. And the amount of detail, and this is the few moments where I can say Rockstar did a good job about this. The amount of detail that went into this game, I find it to be so overwhelmingly good. People, I have friends that will play Red Dead Redemption and be like, oh, I don't like all this small stuff I have to do, like cleaning my gun or cleaning my horse or changing clothes when I get mud on it. 1, you don't have to do that. 2, it doesn't take long. 3, what's wrong with changing clothes? Why are you wearing the same jacket 7 days a week, you weirdo? Take a bath, which is a function you can do.
It gets kind of weird though. I took a bath at one point just because I wanted to try everything. So at one point they were like, "Hey, you could pay and take a bath right now." I was like, "Okay, I'll try that once." It got weird, man. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, and this game, similar to Skyrim, has stuff about it, small things that you could completely miss on your playthrough that you won't find out until years later. Caleb, did you know that if you go for an extended period of time without taking a bath or without cleaning yourself and you walk back to camp, Miss Grimshaw will forcefully drag you to a water barrel and force you clean yourself and change clothes because you smell so bad. That is a legitimate thing. That can't happen to Arthur if you don't give him proper hygiene.
What the fuck? I had no idea.
See, exactly. That's what makes this game so good, is because 1, story great, 2, characters memorable forever, and 3, so many things can happen to where everybody's playthrough is not the same. There are many tidbits that are different. There are choices that you make that change out the rest of the mission. There are like investments that you can go towards for Arthur Morgan, whether or not you want him to be like a hunter or kind of just main with the firearms. People will acknowledge that and reflect your actions towards others and how they bounce it back to you in dialogue. Like, and it brings the world alive, and that's what makes this such like a work of art. And I wish Rockstar would continue to bank on this and not continue to do stupid multiplayer. You have an amazing world, an amazing cast of characters, and such awesome acting. This is the game. Why do you want to waste this?
Take a second, since you mentioned it. I gotta take a second. Rockstar, why would you do me dirty on the multiplayer for Red Dead 2 like this? The Red Dead 1 multiplayer was some of the most solid fun I ever had on the Xbox 360. I still think about it. I still have... it's one of the few 360 discs that I still have, because it is one of the few 360 games that I was like, I don't want to give this up. Until it, like, even before it was backwards compatible and all that, I saved the disc and saved an old 360 just in case we decided to go back and play it again. That is how much fun the Red Dead 1 multiplayer was. And the Red Dead 2 multiplayer just being, like, essentially GTA Online, but in the West, but we're not going to support it as much because it doesn't make as much money, that made me so upset. Like, I fully 1000% agree with Sam that it is absolutely a fair example. It and the first game are both examples of video games as art, but holy god, the disrespect for the multiplayer and the lack of Undead Nightmare, what the fuck, are just both so disappointing.
Yeah, also, I don't know if you remember this, Caleb, but when Red Dead Online came out for the first time a month or two after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, as you know, this is the Old West. Prices are not that high for stuff, so you can go to in single player, you go to a gun store, get like a Mauser pistol for like roughly $75. In multiplayer, when it came out, the Mauser pistol was $1,000.
I do remember you talking about that.
Everybody shot at Rockstar for them like, hey, where the fuck is your realism? This is more than highway robbery. This is gun-to-head robbery with a thief looting me in my backside while I'm not having any clothes on. Like, that is... And Rockstar were just like, oh, sorry, we'll dumb down the price. Here it is at, like, $500. Like, that's not making it better. You're literally forcing people to either, if they want this Mauser pistol, invest, like, 10 hours into the multiplayer just to get one gun so they can keep doing those same missions, or have them spend real money because you're so greedy. You're so money-driven that you're trying so hard to make all this money, you're stripping away the fun of this. When I played the multiplayer by myself and the story ended, I had no other motivation to go on. I had no other motivation to go to max level, to get more mounts, or to increase my armory. I had no motivation to do that. The only time I ever went back to the Red Dead Online multiplayer was when I played with Carson Cornella. Shout out to him if he's watching.
Hi, Carson.
Hi, Carson. How you doing? When we went back to play Red Dead Online, because he recently got that game and I wanted to go play with him, because the multiplayer, because the multiplayer is still Red Dead Redemption, like, you know, still fun game mechanics. Carson and I just had the most fun, literally just running from point A to point B, beating the shit out of each other with fists and knives. We didn't do missions. We didn't track anybody down. And we barely even got gunned down. Also, why the fuck is the private lobby not available in Red Dead Online? But yeah, we don't need all like this crazy shit. We don't need to like spend so much money. We can just beat the shit out of each other, cover ourselves in cuts and bruises, and have a hell of a time. But Rockstar is forcing us, or highly encouraging us, like, hey, you want the good shit? Give us 20 hours or $20.
I think that... So video games absolutely are an art form. I think that Red Dead 2, and arguably GTA 5, depending on how you feel about GTA 5. I've never played it, so I can't speak on it, but for Red Dead 2 especially, I think that video games are art, and I think that Red Dead Redemption 2 is the pinnacle example of how capitalism has the potential to ruin art. And don't get me wrong, I'm not harping in. I'm not one of those people who's like, capitalism is an utter failure. I think that everything in moderation can work. But I think that capitalism absolutely has a negative effect on art a lot of the time because you impose monetary limits, which is understandable. That's the understandable side of it. But in cases like Red Dead Redemption 2, sometimes you get so obsessed with making $1 that it cheapens the art and ruins the artistic experience for the people receiving it. And I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually absolutely the prime example of that happening within the video game art medium.
Yeah. So yeah, bringing it back to the art topic, I kind of got sidetracked there.
No, you're fine. Look, you went off about it. That's what art is supposed to do. Art is supposed to get people passionate about this kind of stuff, and so that's fine, man.
Yeah. Thank you. So yeah, the last note I'll leave it on so I don't ramble on a little bit longer, but single player alone, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a work of art.
Yep.
The world, the characters, the story, it's all captivating. Endless of hours can go into it just by looking at birds alone, which is an achievement, by the way. I still haven't gotten
God
that.
in heaven. Don't remind me about the birds. Oh, fuck the birds!
For those of you who don't know, there's an achievement in Red Dead Redemption 2. Neither of us have it because it's a very long time, where you have to study. As by study, i.e. mean go up to that animal, look at them from a certain distance, and hold RB so your character can study their details. You have to do that with every animal in the game, big and small, flying and on the ground. It is exhaustingly long, especially with how big the world is. And I don't have that achievement. I'm only like 76% of studied all animals because a lot of the animals have a very specific spawn location and time frame, and it's a little bit tedious, which is why I'm kind of
a little bit.
It's there's like how many animals are there? There's like 581 animals in the whole world of Red Dead Redemption 2. It is it's a lot.
God. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a beautiful game. Everybody go play Red Dead Redemption 2, but do not worry about the multiplayer. If you have fun with the multiplayer, mazel tov, more power to you, but don't worry about it, man. Don't stress.
Don't give Rockstar money in multiplayer. Give them money for the single player.
Yeah, don't give Rockstar any money for that. That's BS. Don't do that. Same with the Pokemon DLC, which I've mentioned in like 8 different podcasts saying, I'll talk about the Pokemon DLC someday.
Pokemon is a work of art. Now let me talk about this DLC.
I'll talk about the Pokemon DLC someday, but for now I'm just gonna repeat myself again. The Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC was bullshit, and I'll tell you why in another podcast.
To be continued. Next week on LUIGINATOR. LUIGINATOR brings up this stupid Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC and why it's a robbery of your money.
Oh my god. And without further ado, it is now time for halftime. The halftime round is again the round where if you are in the LUIGINATOR Discord server, link down below in the description, you can put your own topic of conversation, request for a shout out, anything you want, and Sam and I have to talk about it. It is the law, unless it's racist or misogynistic or bigoted or anything like that, and then I won't talk about it. And I'm probably gonna kick you out of the server. Anyway, halftime. All of today's halftime content comes from Chadi Mellow Melody in my head, which is his actual name in the server, and I refuse to refer to him as anything else. Chadi Mellow Melody in my head has several things to say today, so we have several things to discuss on this halftime. The first halftime question simply says, you cannot touch your right shoulder with your right palm. I think I actually can. I can, barely.
Touch your right shoulder with your right palm. I did it.
Yeah, I think you might have meant your right elbow, which is, oh my god, oh fuck, oh god, never mind, you were right.
Don't break your elbow.
My arm. Okay, you were right. God damn it, eat your potassium, kids. Oh fuck. Okay, well, I stand corrected. I can, but I should not. So I think that's the proper way to rephrase this, Chadi, is you should not touch your right shoulder with your right palm. Sam, you said you could also?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now.
Are you like straighten your arm back out and tell me if you also get an arm cramp.
I feel lingering pain, but I'm not having a cramp.
Aha! That's enough for me.
Okay.
You shouldn't. All right.
It'll heal in like a minute because it's not that major, but yeah.
But you shouldn't touch your right shoulder with your right palm. We've all learned something today. Next thing.
Unless there's a knife in your back. Just kidding.
No! Next thing. Next thing says, think about this question. If you were born 12 years ago, how old would you be? If you get the answer correctly in the first try, you're a psychopath. If you were born 12 years ago, how old would you be? Fuck, dude, I don't know.
Wait, what? How old was I 12 years ago?
If you were born 12 years ago, how old would you be? Fuck. Dude, I don't fucking know.
If I was born 12 years ago, so 12 years ago, that would be 2009? Am I doing math right?
If you were born 12 years ago, how old would you be right now? And I don't know. That's a tricky one. That's a hard question. I think I would be 14. I did it. I'm smart.
I'm still. Let me pull up the question because maybe I need to read it. I'm not understanding the question. Like, is it literally just asking how old were we 12 years ago?
Sam, it's a joke. It's a joke question. If you were born 12 years ago, you'd be 12 years old.
If you're born 12 years ago. I'm genuinely not getting this. I'm not playing a joke. Like, no dots are connecting in my head right now.
Okay, Sam, think about it like this. If you, from right this moment, 12 years before you were born, right?
Okay.
Okay. So 12 years from that moment would be right now, right?
You'd be 12 years old.
You'd be 12 years old. There you go, buddy.
Well, ain't this a fine how do you do? We just came into a full circle, didn't we?
Johnny, this was a good one. All right, the next thing he says is, oh my god. Oh,
wait, is this the same person?
This is all from Chadi Mellow Melody in my head. I'm not gonna repeat the third one. You can go if you have to be in the LUIGINATOR Discord server to go look at the third one because it's all in the Cool Kids chat club. Johnny, I'm not gonna discuss that third one. Sam, go look up the third one so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, let me see.
It's after the born 12 years or you're a psychopath one.
Why do you know that person?
That's you know what? That's it. Why do you know? How do you know? How do you know that was their prerogative? We don't know.
Can you give me his or her phone number?
Yeah, we don't know nothing. You have no way of knowing. Friends listening, if you want to know what we're talking about, you have to join the Discord server. Ha ha ha. And the last thing he says is, okay, yeah, I'm awkward as fuck. I don't know what to say. Well, Chadi Mellow Melody in my head, it sounds like you knew exactly what to say. And I thank you for the halftime questions. I think it was really good.
I think we misread that. It says, okay, yeah, I'm awkward as swordfish. I don't kink what to say.
I hate you.
Listen, man, he just has ASF and IDK in there. We don't know what that actually means. We're just going off of an educational guess, and obviously my IQ education is big.
Oh my god, okay. Well, that is going to conclude our halftime. Thank you, Chadi Mellow Melody, for all of the questions. Friends listening at home, remember, I know I've said it like a million times now, but if you would like to submit your own questions for halftime discussion or get your own things shouted out on halftime, join the Discord server and drop them in there. I'll let you know when the time is right. Blah, blah, blah. It might also be about to get its own chat server just for people to submit throughout the week. I might do that. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. So the next game that I use as an example for this is also a very common one. So I can't properly dwell on it too long because I watched my brother play it growing up. But I have yet to play the full game on my own, which is a travesty, I know, I need to. But it just visually, from an artistic standpoint, no. Okami is absolutely an artistic game. Okami is a painting in motion. Like, if you look at Okami and see it moving, or even just see it sitting still, and don't think that there's some artistic value in the art style and in the way that it is implemented in the game, I respect your opinion, but oh man, you're gonna have to do a lot to convince me. You know what I mean? Like, this is just a beautiful game. If this was a painting, if you saw this in a museum, you wouldn't question it. You would assume it was meant to be there. It's gorgeous. I mean, it had a solid art direction. It followed through from first thought to from planning to execution. It was fully followed through to the best of its capability, and the best of its capability was absolutely mind-blowing. All I can ask for is that we have a new, true, from the ground up, current gen remaster of it. I would love that. Or not a remaster, like a new game of it. I think it would be amazing. Sam, what do you think?
I've never played this game and I know very little about it. But just off of this GIF that I put in the Discord, I gotta say, he's got a good face. I don't know what it is about it, but I'm getting some major good vibes from this good boy.
From this good boy. Oh man.
Look at his little ears flop.
He's got little ears? Oh, he's got little ears.
He's got little ears. It definitely looks like an artistic game. Like, I also Googled it on, like, Google Images, and, like, all of the images are, like, honestly, like, really good desktop backgrounds. And definitely, like, like, this
That's
is...
fair.
Like, it looks like a lot of time was, like, put into, like... I can only assume, like, this game, or at least these images, because, like, all of this, especially that one you just put in Discord, like, that looks very... What's the word I'm looking for?
Beautiful, gorgeous, spectacular.
Breathtaking.
There it is. Don't hold back, man. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel.
Well, I mean, it definitely is just like you are right. Like, it's a shock. Like, no one would believe, like, oh, this is from a video game? I thought this was, like, a genuine piece of art. I would find it in an art gallery.
It does. It exactly does. I love it. I've always loved looking at this game, and I have very fond memories of watching my brother play it when I was a kid. I didn't get to watch too much. I don't remember watching him beat the game, but just seeing it in motion the few times that I got to was just, God, just so beautiful. And I've always wanted to play it, but I think part of me is afraid that if I play it, it's going to cheapen the experience a little bit. You know? I know that it won't, because I've seen, like, footage of it since then, since getting older, and I know that it still holds up. Oh, God, it's such a beautiful game. That's it. That's all I have to say about this one. Sam, final thoughts on Okami?
Oh, I think I lost connection with Caleb. Oh, no. I lost connection with him.
Oh, hello? No, you didn't. I'm right here.
It went dead quiet. I lost connection for you a little bit, but I'm back now.
Okay, hello. I literally was just postulating more about how beautiful it is, and then said, Sam, do you have any final thoughts on it?
He's a good boy.
That he is. Alright, what's next, Sam? What you got?
Okay. So for my next game, I have some good history with this game. The franchise is no longer being supporting more. They ended a while back, probably back in like 2017, 2019, depending on how you look at it. But the game that I'm gonna pick for my next topic, I'm gonna bring up the Dark Souls franchise. A lot of people know this game for just like, this is the hardest game, you're gonna die a lot, like the game is just meant about dying, but like, yeah, you are right, but like, also, there's so much like lore and history to learn in this game. Like, every object in this game, to a certain extent, I might be over exaggerating a little bit, but a lot of the objects in this game, nearly every single one, has history and some ties to the main story in the background. Like, Dark Souls game, start to finish, beat all the bosses, go through all the worlds, collect a bunch of stuff and get really strong, and then you can come back to me and I can ask you, hey, what was the main objective in Dark Souls, you can just be like, I don't know, because the game kind of encourages you to like do a little bit of a lore searching of your own. It doesn't tell you all the answers flat out. It delves into like your personal like learning experience, and like you, like it's up to you to connect the dots. You figure out like who you are, like what do you like, what's your purpose here into this set? Why is it every time you die you like lose half a life bar or just start to like fade away a little bit more? Or why is it you can't die? The game will never tell you that unless it's in like a very subtle detail that will probably go over your head, as it did for me. And my brother can tell you, like, this game, like, you can a lot of stuff can go over your head, but like the more you like do some research, you start to realize like this world, like so much thought was put into this, like so much time, like all the bosses like have such this design that you thought it just looked cool, but no, there's a reason for that being there, and that kind of makes like the visual appearance for the world have like an even greater impact when you start to figure out the purpose and the meaning behind them all. And to me, that's very creative.
I agree with that, absolutely. So I don't have a lot of experience with Souls games in general, let alone Dark Souls, but Dark Souls is the one that I have the most experience with, because when I think it was the first one got made a game for gold back in the 360 days, I finally picked it up and played it. And it's challenging, and I had always resisted playing it because of the challenge, but similar to Skyrim, the way that the game presents itself and carries itself, for lack of a better word, is unique. I don't know how to properly say it, very similarly to Skyrim. There's just something about the isolation of Dark Souls, and something about the very isolated way that everything is presented to you. It makes, every time you find a rare friendly face, it's just mind-blowing how it sucks you into that world. I mean, I remember playing this game with like 3 people in an Xbox Live party with me. So I had 4 people, we had 4 people total in this party, and for the world kept pulling me into it so much that I don't know, like it tuned out people around me. It just, it sucks you in, and I guess part of that is subjective. I guess part of that, I don't remember which is which. It's my opinion. Part of it is just my interpretation.
It's definitely playing a Dark Souls game requires concentration, so you can keep going without dying.
Yes, but the way that it could still pull you into that feeling of isolation, even when you're surrounded by lots of people screaming at their own video games, it's wild to me. In a cool way, in a fantastically cool way. It just blows my mind. It just absolutely blows my mind.
Yeah.
I think it's the world of Dark Souls, more than anything else, that really justifies it as an art piece.
Oh yeah, it's exactly that. The world sets the stage in such a way that it will never tell you outright, but like when you start to connect that dots, that's when it has like such a significant impact. Like when you decide to let that world in, then it starts to hit, not the game forcing it on you.
Exactly.
It's so, I'm a little upset that they're not continuing the Dark Souls franchise, but also they left it on a very, in my opinion, very good note.
Well, they're still making Souls games though, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to call Bloodborne, and then they came back and just like, hey, Dark Souls 1 remastered, whatever, and then I don't know what's going on. Oh yeah, now they're making Demon Souls remastered, or they did make Demon Souls remastered for the PS5. Or
is it a PS5 exclusive?
I think it's a PS5 exclusive, and I don't remember if it's out yet. But that's like the biggest reason why people got PlayStation 5. For me, it was Spider-Man Miles Morales, but everyone else got PS5 for that Demon Souls game. So I don't know what that company, I don't remember, I don't know what they're doing right now, Dark Souls wise, but it seems like so far the past 2 games has just been like, hey, this same game that we already put out, but remastered.
But remastered?
Yeah, so quick cash grab for them, I guess, but whatever. It's still a good game.
Yeah, I was about to say, as long as it's good, that's what really matters.
Yeah.
It is. Did you ever get a PS5 yet, by the way?
No, they haven't. It's impossible to get one right now.
Yeah, but I didn't know, because I knew we have a friend who's gotten an Xbox, by just hitting the grind and doing what you have to do to get it. Like constantly staying on internet forums and all that. And like Tyler, hi Tyler. Tyler's been on the podcast and on TF2 with me a bunch. He has the new Xbox for the same reason. So I just didn't know. I still don't know which one I'm gonna get, I'll be honest.
I definitely want to get a PlayStation 5 because a PlayStation 5 is perfect for those who have never owned a PlayStation 4 because the PS5 is compatible with PS4 games, and that is juicy good for me. That's
true. That's very compelling. For me, I don't have a lot of PS4 games. I like the ones that I have. Like I bought my PS4. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I bought
Briefly.
my PS4 specifically for Kingdom Hearts and Crash Bandicoot. Both of those are now available on consoles that I already had. So now the only game series that I really, really, really like on my PS4 that I can't play anywhere else is Uncharted. Not that it's the only good one. I'd love to play Spider-Man, and I'd especially love to play God of War. But like, what exclusives does PlayStation have that I really want? You know? I mean, that being said, the only reason I still have Xbox is because of Banjo and other Rareware properties, but, priorities.
Yeah, that's understandable. Everyone's got like their specific tastes, and we're definitely in that weird time where like we have too much time to think about, do I want the next gen Xbox or the next gen PlayStation? Because right now with COVID and with people stock buying or hoard buying, whatever the correct term is, those consoles making it impossible for other people to buy them, like we're just in that stage where it's just like, well, I don't need to decide right now because I literally have the next few months to decide before it can be on shelves for the next 2 minutes.
Yep, exactly. Well, they said it's supposed to stabilize around April. That is what they originally said. So. Yeah. They also said that they'll release the next wave in time for Christmas. Yet I've never heard any news, and to this day. Well, I think that they tried to, but then Scalpers kind of cucked them on it, which sucks.
Scalpers, that's the correct term.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hey,
those
if you're a
guys are
scalper and you're
brilliant.
listening to this, you can fuck right off. I hate you. You're a bitch.
Like, actually, you're a fucking asshole. Why the fuck are you selling a $500 or $400 console at over $1,000? Like, how greedy are you? Yeah, no, you're a piece of garbage. You're a piece of human fecal matter, and I hope that you slip into the smallest, dirtiest, smelliest crack of human waste on this planet, and you just die there. You smother. By the way, if you're like a minor or someone who doesn't like swearing and you made it to this part in the podcast, shit, man, I'm sorry. I like how you apologize with a swear in the sentence. But also, you guys, I swear on this podcast. You know, I censor myself in the videos, and I try not to swear in general. Sometimes it just overtakes you. The funniest story about that is that at one point I was telling Sam and I's old high school marching band director, I was telling him about the podcast that we were doing, and one of the other ones made a joke about how I swear constantly all the time in these podcasts, and I said, oh well, you know, at least I'm not the only one. And our old band director went, well, who else is on the podcast? And I said, well, my co-host is Sam, and he went, oh, Sam's a good, like very genuinely, oh, Sam's a good boy. Sam doesn't swear, so he can't be him. And I just didn't say anything because I didn't want to ruin that image of Sam for him. Oh crap! I forgot. Actually. Hey, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear that? Sam's shit and fucks just turned into a oh crap after he heard that. No, like actually, genuinely, every time I swear on a podcast, I keep thinking back to that moment because you previously told me and how like how he pictures me of like someone who's not swearing. Now every time I swear on this podcast in front of this audience, I'm just like, oh, I really hope he doesn't watch this video. I'm gonna really ruin his day. I really hope he doesn't watch any of these podcasts because you swear at all of them. Yeah, because we get so passionate about this kind of stuff. We do. And now because you brought it up in the podcast, watch me go the rest of this podcast without saying a single swear word. I was about to say. Because now it's just like, now it's here. Now I'm like taking it all in. I'm just feeling so sentimental. Oh shit. Okay, speaking of now it's here, we are at lightning round, everybody. Time flies. Lightning round. Lightning round. Okay.
game that I think counts as art, that the Silent Hill 2 specifically, the way that Silent Hill 2 carries out its story and tells its very deeply emotional everything in such a just unique world. I go back to worlds a lot. I go back to unique worlds a lot of the time, apparently. But Silent Hill 2 specifically, all of the Silent Hill games I think are artistic in their own right, but Silent Hill 2 is something completely unique on its own. Sam, go! Sam, go! Don't laugh at the meme, go! Sam, go! Don't laugh at the meme, go!
Okay, so my next topic I'm gonna go with is Halo 3 ODST. Halo 3 was a good game, and then ODST said, we're gonna keep the combat, but also tell a really good story about the life of an ODST and their troubling experience with this very city where you're supposed to be alone, and it's supposed to be somber. It's supposed to be like this sense of confusion and stuff like that. So it's that kind of theme. It's a very sentimental look on the Halo franchise.
That is fair. That is fair. I never actually got to play that one, but I've heard that for literally my entire life.
Master Chief Collection, baby. All
right. Final lightning round. I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, but Kingdom Hearts. A lot of the Kingdom Hearts games, it's Disney and Final Fantasy, and so people write it off a lot of the time, but I love the way that Kingdom Hearts tells its stories. I love the emotional impact that Kingdom Hearts has had on me for literally my entire life, and fuck Donald Duck in Kingdom Hearts. I love Donald Duck outside of Kingdom Hearts, but fuck Donald Duck in Kingdom Hearts. Alright,
he doesn't
and
do enough
healing. Thank you for watching and listening to the podcast. Woo, crazy, fun time.
We did it!
Yeah! Thank you so much for listening, friends. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, and I'll say something stupid in reply to it. Don't forget to like, favorite, share, all that good stuff. Hit the bell icon, whatever the fuck. Hit subscribe so you don't miss anything. Sam, do you have anything to say?
I didn't swear.
Yet. Join the Discord server so that you can participate in the halftime of this. God, there it is. Join the Discord server so that you can join in half times in future podcasts. So without further ado, LUIGINATOR out. See you later, friends.
Bye, y'all.